Well, federal prosecutors plan to ask a grand jury to indict Hunter Biden by the end of the month. That's according to court documents filed Wednesday in Delaware by recently appointed special counsel David Weiss and his team. It is now just over a year until the 2024 presidential election. Let's get some political perspective on all of this. Joining us now is NewsNation political editor Chris Stirewalt. Chris, always great to see you. Thank you for being here.
You bet.
So we have former President Trump embroiled in multiple criminal cases, this indictment coming for Hunter Biden and potentially more, and serious questions about his business dealings and whether or not his father played a role. So you've said if voters conclude that both candidates are ethically compromised, Biden will have lost his strongest argument for keeping Trump out of power. Interesting. What is that ethically compromised threshold for President Biden in your view?
Well, let's start with the understanding that the way that Hunter Biden has treated his father and the way that Hunter Biden has treated the Democratic Party is shockingly bad, right? This is an incredibly selfish way that Hunter Biden, this plea deal, the wild legal theories that they put forward to try to beat the rap, all of that stuff. Hunter Biden owes his dad, at a minimum, to have found a way to go away. Going to state dinner, standing on the Truman balcony for the 4th of July fireworks. Hunter Biden, there's no question. There are questions remaining about what Joe Biden knew and when he knew it about his son's business dealings. But there's no question that his son's business dealings were corrupt, period. Trying to get money for selling influence in the United States government to despicable foreign actors, to shady characters overseas is wrong. Even if the influence is fake, even if nobody was listening to Hunter Biden, it's still wrong. And Hunter Biden knows it. Everybody knows it. And for a long time, Democrats tried to minimize this story, right? Oh, well, he was on drugs. It's a story of addiction. It's a story of all these things. Sure. But not anymore. And Hunter Biden presents a critical threat to Joe Biden's central argument to remain in office, which is that Donald Trump is unfit. If there is any suggestion in the minds of persuadable American voters that Joe Biden engaged in wrongdoing, that he personally profited or abetted his son in corruption, it will be very bad for Biden's argument that Donald Trump has to be kept out of power, even if people think Biden's too old or they don't like his policies or whatever else.
So as we focus on this campaign, there's been a lot of talk, as you know, Chris, of third-party candidates. But no one at this hour seems to think a candidate like that would be able to walk away with this election. So is this inevitably going to be Biden v. Trump for 2024 unless one of those candidates is removed or removes themselves from this race?
Well, we got a lot of football to play between now and next summer, right? We have a year until the general election really kicks off. And yes, the straight line projection from today, it's Trump versus Biden. But you mentioned third parties. The No Labels group is certainly making an effort. They've had a lot of funding. They're on the ballot in 10 states. They hope to get on in all 50 states. But if they can even get on in 40 or more, basically to get to at least 270 electoral votes to be in the mix and be on in every major state, if they can do that and offer a bipartisan ticket where they say they're going to do a unity ticket, a Republican and a Democrat for president and vice president in some combination. If that happens, you can see, given the despair that so many Americans have, you look at the recent numbers about Joe Biden, you look at the consistently bad numbers for Donald Trump. America despairs at the idea of a rematch. This is an opportunity that is, as you say, it's right there. Whether they can pull it off, whether that happens, I don't know. But you can certainly foresee a scenario in which by May of next year, you have a third-party candidate that's polling in double digits. People are talking about them on the debate stage, and maybe they can do something from there.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. Let's say, hypothetically, Chris, the Hunter Biden saga stays with Hunter Biden, does not implicate the president. The legal proceedings continue for former President Trump. President Joe Biden has an approval rating, as we outlined, 39% at last check. How do you see him framing his campaign moving forward?
Well, a lot of people voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Who didn't like Donald Trump and didn't approve of him. A lot of people voted for Joe Biden that didn't like Joe Biden either. This is that kind of an election where basically it's a hold your nose and vote. What Joe Biden, if the essential thing with Hunter Biden for his father is that it be over right? That Hunter Biden find a way to plead guilty, that Hunter Biden be punished for some of his crimes at least, and that he absence himself from public view, whether that is in jail, whether that is a out of jail probation or something else. Hunter Biden the story has to conclude, because what Joe Biden can't afford is that for another year, the legal saga of Hunter Biden, his tax problems, his gun charges, the buck raking, all of that stuff, if that hangs around. We've read recently the stories about the emails between Joe Biden's vice presidential office and Hunter Biden's company. All of these emails, some of which the White House says can't be released because of executive privilege. Those kinds of stories don't go away, and Republicans are not going to let them go away. When you have a scandal, you have to clean it up and you have to put it to paid once and for all. And often that means very unhappy consequences for some people. And the some people in this case would be Hunter Biden.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.